clear to everyone. Ways and Means is supposed to be a temporary overdraft that is extended by CBN to the executive arm of government. Now, when you have this kind of situation, it could be due to an emergency. It could be due to emergency. Now, that was it is expected if the executive of government and the legislature are on the same page, particularly where the government has majority in the Senate or in the National Assembly. It is expected we will always collaborate and assist the executive government in the case of emergency. And when those requests were brought here, we knew they were done due to certain situations of emergency. Now, we said, yes, we are going to pass it. In fact, but why did we even put it together this way? 23 trillion. They said they were because of certain situations that were urgent. We said, now, okay, we are going to pass it, but bring your details later. Bring your details later. And it was a collective action by the Senate. And that was done. Even today, if President Tinubu brings in...
please, the President Tinubu will not bring 30 trillion ways and means. We are talking about 30 trillion ways and means. We are not talking about, I can only appeal to the Deputy Senate President to stick to the issues here. We are talking about 30 trillion ways and means, not what President Tinubu can bring. This Senate will not rubber stamp anything that we feel is not in the interest of Nigerians. And that's the reason why we are discussing. Am I right or wrong? Those who are in support of what the Senate President is saying, say aye. Those against say nay. So the DSP, stick to the issue.
Now, okay, exclude the fact that we can still go and investigate what we passed. So we are open to investigation. And there was a caveat at that time that we're going to investigate. The details must be provided. So we are waiting. Anytime the Senate feels that we should go to investigate that, we investigate that. So for one now to say, what happened then was a collective responsibility. And it was done in the interest of the nation and in line with our collaborative stance with the executive arm of government. I saw some.
And you called me to speak. And of course something else happened. So I had to sit down. I have two issues to speak to. First of all, there is nothing that the National Assembly that makes laws on them that cannot look at them and consider them. If there were expenditures wrongly done in contradiction to the provisions of the Constitution, the National Assembly can look at the expenditures, and if sanctions are needed for unlawful or wrong or unauthorized expenditures, the National Assembly can provide the sanctions. That is one. Secondly, Mr. President, what the 9th National Assembly approved or ratified in terms of ways and means was not 29 or 30 trillion. It was 22, but there was 819 billion to attend to deal and address very serious infrastructural dilapidations that we had across the country. So it was not 30 trillion. It was 22, and then of course the one we had made it almost 23. So if we have a ways and means that is 30 today, that means something happened between then and now. And it's for the National Assembly to find out what happened. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, nobody in this chamber should suggest that we shouldn't look to anything that we feel is in the public interest. But let me say this very clearly. What Nigerians want today is food. What Nigerians want today is food and security. This belongs to the medium term or long term action that we need to take. How are we going to provide food for Nigerians and protect their lives tomorrow or from today? This report talks about it. Mr. President, let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's consider it necessary to look at what happened in the past. But we are in the present, and the present is so unpleasant. And we have to act very, very swiftly. Thank you very much.
Is noted, but the aspect of doing something in the interest of the nation, we are saying what you did at that time has put the nation in more mess economically. And therefore, because of the current economic situation we have found ourselves, that there is need for us to look at the details and to know whether they were rightly spent. But then there is somebody that must make a statement on this issue. Senate President Emeritus, dismissed Senator Ahmad Lawan, just say a word so that we can go into the next issue.
Well, thank you.
Even though the ways and means were part of the things that have put us where we are today. That we are saying that the expenses that were not explained, the expenses that we don't have details about, put us in the indebtedness that we are seeing today. The expenses that we don't have details put us in the indebtedness that we have today, and therefore has affected even the ability of government to provide essential needs and services for the public. That we need to look into those things. However, that what is facing us today is a current food situation, food crisis, immediate crisis. So we need to look at what we can do in the immediate to put food on the table of Nigerians. And that is the most emergency we have. And then the aspect of looking at what went on, whether ways and means, whether anchor borrowers program, whether intervention funds, whatever, those are things that constitutionally we are empowered to do, and we shall do so. And if we need to do so, we can agree here on how we are going to take care of those things. But let us look at this report and see the recommendations that can assist the federal government to bring the current food insecurity to a minimal level and then stop the discomfort. I think that's what we are looking at. So let's look at resolution 4.1, the recommendation here, and then we amend them into 3 parts. The first part will be the issue of by the way, why we got to 30 trillion was because of the interest element. They brought that before this current Senate, that the interest had accrued on the 23 trillion that was passed by the 9th Senate, and that it was, they needed additional approval of 7 trillion, which was the interest. So we passed the interest, and then that's what added to become 30 trillion. Okay, so recommendation 1. Who is going to propose the first, because we are going to break them into 3 or so. Senator Yaya, see whether you can propose the first and second.
Thank you, Mr. President.